Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of Real Talk in My Rooms. I know you guys already know Lauren from our, what was it? It was this season. Was it the first or second episode? I can't remember.
I think it was the second episode.
Second episode?
Yes.
You guys remember Lauren, and today we have a highly requested episode talking about Parasite Cleanse. I feel like Lauren is the queen of the Parasite Cleanse. I've learned everything that I know from Lauren. I know, Lauren, you shared your story on the last episode, but can you give just for anybody who might have not heard it, and just to talk about it, can you tell everybody about why you even started the Parasite Cleanse to begin with?
So about a year and a half ago, I started having an allergic reaction to everything I ate. No matter what I put in my body, I would get not hives, they were like welts. They called them urticaria. It was all over my body. It looked like a map. Sometimes I would have breathing issues. Every doctor I went to, no answers. My iron was non-existent. I got to a point I couldn't even get out of bed. I was so fatigued. It literally felt like I had the flu every day. It was getting so bad. So I started, after seeing like 18 different doctors, no answers, a new prescription, I started going the holistic route. I seen a holistic nurse and a holistic doctor, 2 separate appointments, and both of them, based off my symptoms, said that they would put me on the CellCore protocol, which is a parasite cleanse, and they would have me do high doses of vitamins and supplements. They said my adrenals were struggling, and they thought, both of them, that parasites was the answer. So honestly, I couldn't afford to do either one of their protocols. It was super expensive.
And at this point, did you ever hear of anything like parasites? Like, did you know?
The only parasite medication, anything I've ever heard of, is when I deworm my dogs.
Your dogs, yeah.
Yeah. I did hear people talk about parasite cleansing probably 2 years ago. I seen people talking about it like I thought it was a fad.
Mm-hmm.
I heard other countries do it. We don't, but I didn't think anything of this. Actually, the more research I started doing, the sicker I became. That was the furthest thing on my mind. I would have never thought that all this would have led me to a parasite cleanse.
Yeah.
So I couldn't afford either of their protocols. Super expensive. They don't take insurance. So I decided I have nothing to lose at this point. I'm on all these medications. Nothing's working. Everything I eat, even down to water, I would have a sip of water in the morning. I'd start reacting. I'm like, this can't be possible. You just don't form an allergy to everything all at once.
Not water, especially.
Right. So my husband started researching CellCore, how we could get it, and we found a website. I ordered it. And I started out slow because I was reacting to everything. Mm-hmm. I physically couldn't even eat. I was also so malnourished. Yeah. I was down to like 100 pounds, just not being able to eat anything without reacting. So I was cautious with it. I started it and I wasn't reacting, which was like a huge sign. But to go back, as I was doing my research, I was diagnosed at some point with mast cell activation syndrome. It's kind of like autoimmune, like your body is just releasing these mast cells, which is causing this allergic reaction. So in a group that I was in on Facebook, I seen somebody correlate parasites to these symptoms of what I was having, which is skin issues, gut issues, candida, bloating. So that also stood out to me. That was the first time I thought, could parasites be it? Then I ordered the cleanse. I started not reacting. From, I would say, about the 3rd week, I slowly started feeling better. I stopped all medications from these doctors. I went cold turkey, which you're not supposed to do, but I just knew at this point it couldn't get any worse. I was really at my lowest. So I was like, it can't get any worse than this. So once I started not reacting to that, I then started high doses of vitamins and supplements, again, because I was so malnourished. Mm-hmm. I started being able to take iron, which I couldn't normally take without reacting. And then from that point on, I knew as I got better and better that this was it. And that was it. I finished the Parasite Cleanse. One thing both of them said to me is how important the repeat 6 weeks later is, because parasites will release a hormone as they're dying, which then makes all these eggs hatch 6 weeks later. So that was the most important from what they said, is making sure you repeat it. So I did it 6 weeks, and I started feeling so much better, and then I was able to eat again. Slowly, I started slowly. But again, I mean, I was seeing a hematologist, oncologist, cancer doctors. Like,
Yeah.
they were talking about having to do chemo to kill these mast cells. It was like really serious. So
Yeah.
to be here and only the vitamins and the Parasite cleanse can I say is the reason.
Right.
I really do believe that I could attribute that to
It's
my
so good
healing
you
journey.
did the research and you actually tried it out versus being like, no, I'm not going to do them, and you didn't do the chemo.
Right. I would have, honestly, I mean, I don't want to say I would have never done it because I was so desperate to just get better. And literally, there's people in these groups that, like, they're ready to give up. Like, it doesn't seem like that big of a deal, but you just are depreciating to nothing. Because some people
Yeah.
literally, you'll see, could only eat rice. Like, that's it. They can't eat
Yeah.
anything else. Some
That's-
people, it gets scary. Like, what scared me the most was when I went into the sun and I was reacting to the sun. I'm like, how am I allergic to the sun? I
See, the
love
sun and the water too, but like, 'cause
and
if
the
you can't
sun,
even-
you need vitamin D. So I was
Yeah.
like, this can't be. And then drinking water in the morning, I'm like, wow. And I did see a doctor, a holistic doctor, talk about all these symptoms that present themselves like autoimmune. Your body just doesn't switch off and you become allergic to everything. There's always an underlying cause, and that
There's an underlying
stuck
issue.
to me.
Yeah. And then for me, like I tried the Parasite cleanse after you, I mean, well, so that was the first round you did. How many times have you done it since that first time?
So I repeated it the second time, and then the full moon Parasite cleanse that I do, they have something called the full moon cycle. So I gave it a break probably for like 6 months after I repeated it the second time. And
Is that
then,
important to give it a break?
I don't think there's no right or wrong.
Yeah.
I just think I know the first two obviously are to get
Key.
it going.
Yeah.
Then you have some people that do what they call the full moon cycle, and that's 6 days each month, just around the full moon, that you take the full moon recommended dose, and that's just for maintenance. Then you have people that just do once a year. Then you have people that will do it every 6 months. If you look at other countries, they deworm every 6 months. So a lot of people like, there's no way we have parasites. I don't have parasites. You're not seeing long things coming out of you. It's not, some of them are microscopic.
Right.
There's so much.
I love when people say that.
Yeah,
I don't
like,
have parasites.
I don't have parasites.
I don't believe in that.
I don't,
I'm like,
it's,
okay.
if
Did you walk outside barefoot?
Yes.
Did you let a dog lick your face?
Do you have a dog that you deworm
you-
and they pass parasites? You have
Do you
parasites.
eat raw fish?
Exactly.
So many things.
Do you eat your, meat not
vegetables,
cooked?
right?
Yeah, vegetable,
Even some
fruit,
vegetables,
fruit. I mean, once I started going down that hole, I started washing my fruit,
Yeah.
soaking it in baking soda. You do see stuff come out. Like,
Ugh.
I thought it was, so now I'm like, you're never going to eliminate, that's what I learned also. You're not doing this to eliminate parasites completely. That's never going to happen.
Lauren has to remind me of that because I'll be like, I can't have pork chops anymore. She's like, no, it's okay.
No, seriously, myself too. After I did this and I felt better, I didn't want to ever go back to where I was. So
Yeah.
I just thought, oh my God, I'm never doing sushi again, even though I only do cooked. But the cross-contamination
It's
is
still,
there.
yeah.
But even tap water, you go to a restaurant, you drink tap
No.
water, there's so many ways to get it. And again, the idea is just to keep them under control and at bay so
Right.
they don't cause havoc in your body.
Yeah. So, and then that's why it's good to have the maintenance for it. Because like for me, I did the Parasite cleanse back in, I think I started with September was when I first started
Yes.
my first round. I'm actually right about to, as soon as my cell core comes in, I'm starting the round 2 with that. But I personally was feeling sluggish and tired all the time. Like I was always tired. I would have 2 things of pre-workout before I even worked out in the morning. No energy. I would have like 2 to 3 cups of coffee. No energy. Always tired. I always felt like I had a brain, felt like a cloud over my brain, like
100%, yes.
my lower stomach, the bloating, no matter what, always there.
No matter what. Yeah.
Forget about it. When I had my period, I looked like I was pregnant, and I'm like, well, what? Like that's not normal. I had these bumps on the back of my arm would get red, and then I had like bumps on the back of my arm. My breathing, everything. I just felt like I was just always exhausted, and all those other things, and literally within I want to say like on the third day, I felt myself feeling better. I don't drink coffee anymore. I haven't had coffee since the last time I had it was probably like 3 weeks ago, and that's because I wanted to try the pumpkin at Turquoise. But I don't drink coffee anymore. I don't need energy drinks. Like I'm able to now get up and have energy throughout the day and not have
That's
to be
awesome.
like. So that alone huge for me. My lower stomach, the bloating, that's gone away. Like I'm like, wow, I don't have the kangaroo patch anymore, or patch, whatever. And then the bumps and the redness on the back of my arm, that's gone. The cloudy, foggy feeling in my brain, that went away. Just like for me personally, like I just feel so much better to the point where like I'm like, I see why Lauren is always talking about this. Like I was at at a vet appointment for my dog, talking to the vets about it, telling them how they should be doing it.
Yeah.
I go out and I'm talking to people like, have you heard of a Parasite cleanse? You should do it, because it's like how great I felt after. I'm like, everybody needs to know this. On top of the story you had told me and how you felt. And just after you talked about it, a couple of people who I had known said that they did it and they felt amazing. I'm like, I can't believe that there's not more conversations around this.
Exactly. And here's the thing. Here's how I looked at it. It couldn't hurt me. I was at the lowest point in my life. So for me, again, I'm not giving medical advice. It's you have to do
We are not doctors.
Yes, we're not claiming to be. We're just talking from our personal experience.
Yes.
But I just know, I just don't know where I would be, because I literally lost hope. Like I couldn't tell you I was seeing a rheumatologist, endocrinologist. Every doctor would refer me to the next doctor and give me a different prescription to try. An allergist would send me to somebody that deals with mast cell, but because mast cell is a new diagnosis within the last 7 years, they don't take insurance, so it's out of pocket.
Okay.
Just to see somebody, it's $10,000, and then they're not healing you. They're
They're
giving you another
it.
protocol.
And that's such a...
But I was so desperate that I was trying to deal with holistic people. I just couldn't afford it. There was no way. I mean, even when I did the Parasite cleanse, and then I bought my first round of high-dose, high-quality vitamins, I was already at $700. Again, I went all in. Everything that I read that would work together with what I was doing and what I was aiming to get. But it added up because I wanted to make sure I was doing third-party testing, supplements, high quality, and ones that would not react with me having mast cell.
Of course. For the cleanse, like how important, because I feel like some people can we talk about how it works? So from the full moons, people are like, what do you mean you have to do it during the full moon?
Yes,
Why?
you don't have to do it during the full moon. The idea around the full moon is parasites are most active then. So they usually burrow, they say, in your kidneys, your organs, wherever they could burrow. They're very highly intelligent.
Disgusting little things.
Yeah. So they come out during the full moon. So that's why it's a good idea to start on the full moon, because you're targeting the adult parasites right away.
And the sugar cravings, right, are more so during they get...
Yes, which is why they actually... So supposedly they urinate, which is why when they are starving for sugar, they will urinate, which then makes you want sweets, want sugar. When you get a headache, that's that reaction to that hormone that they're releasing. So they're very intelligent. It's crazy, but... That's another thing, the sugar cravings that they really do eliminate on week 2. And I never thought I'd be able to do without sugar. I was like, Starbucks, extra pump of this, extra pump of that. I never thought I'd be able to get through without it.
Now you're I ain't giving it to you, buddy.
now I just have no desire to... Yeah. Every once in a while, cookie, there's that normal stuff. But I would literally wake up in the morning, 3 a.m, like
something.
I need candy, I need chocolate. Like that's not normal.
That's parasites talking.
Yeah, exactly.
That's parasites.
Exactly. So then you kill off the adult parasites, and as they're urinating, that's when they send that signal. Within 6 weeks, those babies start to hatch. But I think another reason people are so scared to do it is they're like, oh my God, am I going to see worms coming out of you?
Or am I going to be shitting my brains out?
Yeah, I don't know. A lot of people say that. Actually, I feel like, and some people we know experience this, I feel like it's the reverse. My stool wouldn't be the greatest. When I was cleansing, I think it's Actually, I know it's because of the binder. So you take a binder, and the idea of the binder is it binds everything dead inside of you to come out. So actually, the consistency of the stool changes, and it's more solid.
Right.
So no, you're not.
And it's not a detox where you're like, where you're
I
just
think
like going.
It's a misconception to like stuff that we've done when we were younger, or these
Right.
detoxes to lose weight, and then you just
In the bathroom
shitting your
all
brains
day,
out.
yeah.
It's
It's
really
not like
not
that.
at all. Actually, it was the total opposite.
And you want to make sure you're going to the bathroom though prior, like.
And they say that you really should have your pathways open. Like you don't have to be working out, but you should be able to tolerate saunas. You want to sweat. You should be, like I was doing a lot of hot baths. I was doing magnesium salt baths, but just have your pathways open because you want to be able to detox the best you can.
So for anybody who is starting out, or maybe you've done it before, in the Cell Core kit itself, it comes with like an instructions on how to start it.
Instruction manual. So it comes with that full moon, I would say like full moon direction, which is just if you're maintaining and want to deal with, around the full moon cycle, which I think is like a 6-day time frame. And then you do that 6-day dose. But if you're doing the cleanse, then you would continue on after that until you finish the first set of the first bottles, and you would finish that. I would say it took about 6 weeks.
For when you do the beginner, which if it is your first time, we recommend that. It took about 6 weeks. 6 weeks,
yeah.
To finish
so now
everything.
I did the intermediate. Now I do the more experienced one. So I probably go through it in a month and 4 weeks.
Now with that, so like the people who are just starting out should do the cleanse. After they do the cleanse and then they do the 6-week cleanse, then that's when they could do the maintenance, right?
Yes.
That's when
and you do it as there's no right or wrong. Mm-hmm. I think you base it off of how you feel. I know personally I never want to get back to where I was.
Right.
So I will always do it without a doubt every 6 months. But there's sometimes, if I am feeling crappy, or if I'm not even thinking it's parasitic infection, these are all natural herbs. So you're not hurting yourself. Like sometimes I will start up again. Like when you were doing yours in September, I was like, you know what? It was only 3 months. I'll just do that week of the full moon. Mm-hmm. And, it's a higher dose. I think for me, because I was doing the advanced, I think it was like 6 capsules of each. But I did it for six days, and you feel good.
Feel great.
It's just like a reset. That's it. It's a reset. And in my mind, I know if there is anything brewing, then I'm keeping it.
We're keeping it, exactly. And so there are other ways too that we could, take things, have things that will help with the cleanse. One of them I think was it's the castor oil, right?
Yes.
The pills. If you can tell about that.
That's another, like, I joined a lot of Parasite cleanse groups, I joined a castor oil. So when I was really sick, another thing I seen huge benefits to is castor oil. So I was doing a castor oil liver pack, organic castor oil, you put it over the liver, it seeps in, it penetrates, they say, the deepest of any oil, and it seeps in. That helps target parasites as well. But there's also so many health benefits in general, like even with your skin. I use it on my face now. But yes, so what I did see was in between I choose to do this because I read about it. You get organic castor oil capsules, you freeze them, they have to be frozen for 2 weeks. And for 5 straight days, you will take 6 capsules at night when you're going to bed. So what people have said that do these parasite cleanses regularly is that in addition to a regular cleanse that targets parasites throughout the body, doing it this way actually specifically targets parasites that sit right outside the stomach. So there's a flap. So the idea is it's frozen, it gets past that flap, and boom, right when the flap opens, they are bombarded with the castor oil. So it's just like a different ways to address different parasites in the body. But again, castor oil has so many health benefits to digestion, candida, like so many good things that you're not hurting yourself.
Exactly.
It's just beneficial to begin with.
To you. And it's good for isn't it good for eyelash growth, eyebrow growth, hair growth? Yes. So you're winning.
It really is a win-win. Castor oil is amazing.
So we got some questions that we're going to go through. We're going to be reading them off the computer just to have, so we don't forget anything. And we're going to answer them as well. But also, there are other, this is actually one of the questions. So, what foods or supplements help with parasite cleanses? And I know we just talked about castor oil, but I know papaya seeds, right? But you have to swallow them whole.
Papaya seeds are huge. Again, the mistake I did when I was looking into the fad of parasite cleansing is you can't just start eating papaya seeds, because what happens is you do kill off parasites, but now you don't have it. You have to make sure, and I didn't understand this in the beginning, which is why I'm grateful for this cleanse that I found, because everything comes together. That's what I like, something that comes together, detailed directions, so there's no messing up.
It's amazing. Real quick, tell everybody, where can they find
it's healthybeings.com, and it's the full moon parasite cleanse. And they did give me, I bought my 5th cleanse, so I did reach out to them and ask them direct. Spending a lot of money. Can I have a code for myself or people that want to purchase it? And they gave me a code. It's Lauren D24. And I think it saves $24?
Yeah, like it saves. Yeah, so it's 222, and it makes it under
an angel number, which was also a sign. That this was the way for me to go.
But it makes it $199 after, and I'll put all that information in the description below. But yeah, so go on. Sorry.
People eat a lot of pumpkin seeds. That's huge. Pumpkin seeds, they paralyze the parasites, and then you pass them. A lot of people that want to do a parasite cleanse with their kids. I don't know the one offhand that I did see people using that's supposed to be good for kids, because it is,
of course,
it's a lot to do.
Yeah.
But I have seen a lot of success with people just using pumpkin seeds, and children pass liver flukes and parasites, and because that's another thing, it's transferred through utero. So when you're pregnant, if you have parasites and don't even know, you do pass it.
Yeah,
it's just like anything else.
Yeah, and so I know people are like, oh my God, are you going to see them? How are they coming out?
Yeah. So it depends on you. For me, I was so obsessed with wanting to know that I was onto something and doing the right thing that I did throw on gloves and dissect. And then, yes, you will see them if you're looking. I also wanted to collect a sample to bring to the gastroenterologist, who, when I mentioned parasites, was like, we sent out a stool sample, it's negative.
And she was I show you.
Exactly, but they literally take a fingernail full out of a whole sample. So the odds of you getting a parasite in that tiny fingernail is slim to none. They're not testing the whole, because there was times that I literally collected actual parasites and put them in, and it still came up negative. So it did get to a point where I was like, I'm dissecting these, and I'm going to take a picture and show him just so he could see, because they do downplay it, and I just think it's I don't know if it's lack of training in the medical field. They just
I personally think it's because it's easier for them in the pharmaceutical company to take the pills, to get sicker and all that.
It probably is. It probably is. But I also don't think
it's not as much of a moneymaker for them.
They learn enough about this in school. I want to
believe
that's really it.
Yeah, but I feel like too, it's it's all fucked up how things are in the healthcare system.
Money is
the people who are, but you do see doctors who are talking about it and coming out about it. So that's what we're appreciative and grateful for that. But I know I was telling Lauren, I'm like, I'm so nervous. I don't want to look. I did not drink at all during the parasite cleanse because I was nervous. I didn't want to throw up and throw up parasites because of I looked. I had to look. I was so intrigued after. I was like, oh my God, that was inside of my body.
Right.
That long ass 2 foot long thing was inside my body.
I think people also think you're gonna see feel
they're not moving.
They're not moving. Everything's dead that's coming out of you. They actually, you want them out of you.
You do.
Again, they release toxins in your body, which cause havoc, which then cause you to think you're having an allergic reaction to things that you're not, or you're having bumps behind, and you're thinking there's something
no
wrong with your
energy.
skin. You're tired. That was another thing. I was drinking coffee all day, morning till night. And that's what messed up my adrenals. I was literally...
your heart...
I was just thinking that like I just need coffee.
You just need energy.
Normal. I was 39 years old. How do I just need to function?
Why do you need that much caffeine to be able to function throughout the day?
Exactly.
With the Parasite cleanse too. After you're done doing it, are you required to do a colonoscopy or anything like that? Because
no, one thing has nothing to do with the other. To tell you the truth, I did a colonoscopy only because I did it prior to the cleanse. Just because, again, I was so sick, I was going to every doctor doing a full workup. So I did a colonoscopy and an endoscopy, which actually ended up making me worse because then while they were inside, they cut so many biopsies. So now I was having an allergic reaction in my stomach when I ate because the food is sitting in these open wounds, and it was just so. No, there's no one thing has nothing to do with the other. In fact, when you mentioned to some of these GI doctors, they're like, "Parasite? No, you definitely don't have parasites." I'm like, I have parasites.
Things. What about a cleanse? Like, do you have to do anything after you do the cleanses? Like, or is there anything that that's recommended?
Some people ask, like, do you have to change your diet? Obviously, you don't want to be eating sugar and candy, which is feeding parasites.
Yeah.
If you're trying to eliminate them. So the idea is to eliminate sweets and sugar as much as you can during the cleanse because starving them is key.
Yeah.
So for me, I did keto to lose weight probably a year before that. And I was pretty strict with it. So again, I was not eating sugar, which explains why they were eating my iron.
Everything.
So if you look up, how is my iron at a 2?
Low.
You know, that's crazy.
Right.
It lines up with a parasitic infection. If you starve them of sugar, they will survive off of your iron, which is what they were doing in my case. So
those fucking little bastards.
It's crazy.
I hate that. Okay, so can children or pets do a parasite cleanse?
Yes, obviously pets, they recommend it. I want to say it's every year when you deworm your cats, your dogs.
What do you do for that? Like, what kind of?
So I personally, the same thing the vet gives, I forget the name of it. I order it on pet meds now, and I do it myself just because I like to do it more regularly. But again, if you start looking into if you have cats, you have parasites. There's no way around it. When I got a puppy, that's the first thing they do. They deworm them, and then 6 weeks later they deworm them again. I had to do a third, and they actually came out of my dog actually moving. All puppies have them. They get that from their mother. So again, now you're picking up, stool, and you're not using gloves. Again, a lot of this stuff is airborne, so you're thinking I didn't touch it, but
I know. And then there's people who are like, oh, I don't care, I have parasites. Like, I'm like, how do you not care? Like, don't you want to, like, feel better? Get them out of you?
Yeah.
Is professional testing needed before starting a parasite cleanse?
So, again, if I tell you, I probably did 7 stool samples and then they were all negative. So it's not needed. You don't need a prescription to do these parasite cleanse to cleanse of anything. Some people, like for me, I was trying to get definitive answers.
Right, you wanted to get to you were like,
but what's crazy is after I started the cleanse and did the parasite cleanse, like I said, and passed parasites and put them in the sample, I still got a negative result. It wasn't
which is wild because you see them. Like, it's clearly a parasite.
But when I sent them to the doctor, I was like, how is this negative? This is what came out of me.
Yeah.
And, he clearly knew at that point. But that's when he explained to me, it's literally the tip of your fingernail that's sampled. So if there's not egg larva in there, you're not even, and they're definitely not pulling a strand out.
Right.
And testing that. But that's what I was hoping. That's why I dissected and physically put those in, hoping they would look in and say, okay, let's test that. But
they didn't. Yeah.
They don't.
Can parasite cleanses cause side effects?
So they can, like anything else. I feel like everybody's different. For me, I was already reacting to so much that I only noticed that I was slowly feeling better. But it depends,
Well, for me, I wasn't reacting. I mean, of course, I was tired and everything, but I didn't have I wasn't.
Did you feel any?
I didn't feel any. I truly, the only thing I could say is I wish I started it sooner. That's what I just. That's literally the only thing I could say.
Now, I did see, somebody was telling me, they react to folic acid in one of the supplements on the back of the bottle that was in there. So I would have to try it first and see how I react. But again, everybody's different. It really does depend on, that's why you start
out with the beginners. You got to do your research a little bit too.
Right.
Yeah.
And you have to give something a little bit of time too. If they're not horrible symptoms, and it's, migraines is a big one, but you're not really reacting to the Parasite cleanse. That's a die-off symptom. Headaches, like when my husband did it, he was he had the chills, he had flu-like symptoms. Now that's die-off symptoms.
So what are some die-off symptoms?
Flu-like symptoms, you could get the chills, migraines, and that lasted, my husband had it for 3 days. Wow. He was a little frustrated. He was I felt fine, and then I went and did this, but he had bad GI issues. IBS, this, that. So he's fine now. His stools are great.
And he's doing the cleanses still.
The first 3 days, he was I feel like crap. Why am I doing this? But again, you're not reacting to the cleanse. That's, if you look up side effects, die-off symptoms, those are the main ones. The migraines, because when they're dying and they release the urine, that's what gives you the headache.
The urine.
Plus you're trying to stay away from sugar, so now you're detoxing sugar, so now you're getting headaches from that.
Yeah.
You're craving, and so you're not, I don't know if I would call them symptoms as far as reacting to the cleanse, more than I would say those are the die-off symptoms that you're experiencing.
Yeah. So another question is, how do you prepare your body for a Parasite cleanse?
So I was really trying to see the best results possible because of my situation. So I did change my diet. But it was, again, no sugars, I wasn't doing pastas and bread.
Dairy?
I basically went back to when I was doing keto. You could eat meat, I was eating a lot of vegetables. You could do fruit. I just didn't do sugary fruits like I did water-based fruits like watermelons, blueberries.
Love watermelon.
Blackberries. I personally stay away from dairy. Once I eliminated the Starbucks sugary coffees with the extra pumps and the extra cream, I eliminated dairy. I just have no interest in it. I notice it just doesn't make me feel good. So again, you don't have to do that, but you definitely don't want to do a Parasite cleanse and be feeding them
and
sugar,
giving them
because you're just giving them the strength that
you gotta commit. You're gonna go into it, do it.
Do it right.
And you're gonna feel amazing.
And you could have a day where you went out to dinner and you had dessert. I'm not saying that, but to really get the full benefit, you want to just eliminate feeding these critters. Not saying you can never have it again. Now on the weekends, I do my thing. We go out to dinner. I have cookies. I have candy. Of course. On my period, I still have chocolate. But
that was another thing. When I was doing the cleanse, I noticed that my cravings during my period were not as bad as they normally were. Normally I'm I
would wake up 3 in the morning and I'd be I need chocolate. Am I sleepwalking? I need chocolate.
She's I gotta get the chocolate.
It's somewhere.
It's the Parasites talking.
It is. How long does a Parasite cleanse last? 6 weeks, I would say.
Yeah.
And then you repeat it. How do you know you need to do a Parasite cleanse? You don't really know, but my thought process is we all have parasites. I don't care what I personally seen it. Seeing 18 different doctors. It was actually the hematologist oncologist, which is a blood cancer doctor, who I was seeing because he was testing me literally for blood cancer because I was at no other answers.
Yeah.
He was the only one that actually agreed with me when I told him what I started doing. He actually said, keep doing what you're doing. Every other doctor, I want to say, kind of thought I was a little crazy. Him, being Muslim, I forget, actually he was Egyptian. And when I told him this, I said, you might think I'm crazy, but I went off all medications and I started a Parasite cleanse, and I'm able to absorb the iron supplements and other supplements. This was a doctor that wanted to do an iron transfusion on me, but because I was reacting, he was scared to do it intravenously, because if I had a reaction, if it's in your vein, you're in trouble. So when I told him this, he looked at me and he said, keep doing what you're doing. And he actually told me in his country, they Parasite cleanse every 6 months. And that's when I found out he was from Egypt, and this is a normal thing people do. So when he said that to me, it just validated that I was on the right path. And I still see him now, because my iron, I was so low. it's going to take, he said a year to get back. I'm at a year and a half, and it's still, I'm almost there, but it takes time to get it back to where it should be.
And look, it's because you stayed consistent and you kept doing the cleanses and just like looking. You were your biggest advocate, and 100%. I think that's so important, especially in the world today. You have to be.
It's true. I mean, I'd go into the hospital. I'd be having an allergic reaction. I'd feel it in my stomach, like I ate something. I'm having an allergy. I would have heart palpitations. Now I'm struggling to breathe. I go to the emergency room. They're like, "Do you have anxiety?" I'm like, "No, I was diagnosed with mast cell activation, and these are some of the symptoms." Are you sure you were never diagnosed with anxiety? Like, everything is a diagnosis and a new pill. Because that's how they're trained. They don't know any better either. It's just a vicious cycle.
So it's really important for you to educate yourselves.
It really is. All I could say is read up on it for yourself.
Yeah.
Read up on how common it is, just so you reassure yourself you're doing the right thing.
Absolutely.
And that's the only reason I'm so passionate about it. Like what you said, I wish I would have done it before getting sick. I really do. Just because of how great I felt.
But I think you needed that though.
Yes.
Because
first of all, it gave me a reality check on life in general. I literally thought I was close to dying. I have a family. I have kids. It was just a total appreciation for life.
What's something that you do now after that happened? You told me.
I am like big into manifesting. I'm just so grateful for everything, like just the little things.
And you take weekend trips, like you and your family.
Oh yeah, now I make sure no matter what the situation is financially, we do a weekend trip. That's what credit cards are for. We book it. Family vacation every year. I don't care if we're on credit card debt. We'll work it out. We'll figure it out. Those little things that I used to worry about when your life flashes before your eyes, it just doesn't matter anymore. Yeah. Money's money, credit card debt.
That's why I feel like it did have to happen. And like also now you're such a big, like you learn so much about it. So now you're like a voice for it. It's 100%. Still something that like, people are starting to talk about it more, but there's not nearly enough.
People learn from experience.
They learn from experience.
Just like I learned from somebody doing the research and saying, hey, I think mast cell has something to do with parasite. I think this might be linked. And then I started looking into it and I was like,
that's how it happens.
Let me just give this a shot.
So now it's like you're able to help other people out there. So if you're not already, make sure you're following Lauren on social media. I'm going to leave everything in the descriptions, but where can they find you?
So I am on TikTok. It's Lauren, Lauren with 4 N's _D. And I am also on Instagram. It's LAUREENNNN 4 N's _D.
And if you guys have any other questions, feel free to reach out to us. We'll probably do another episode, but I feel like there's so much that Lauren knows that maybe we could do like a little series on different like health things, like, holistic. Because Lauren knows a lot, and
I learned a lot from being sick. I don't claim to know it all, but I know from my experience, and that's what.
Where in life do you ever know it all? We're always learning, and that's the beauty of life. So, but when
it's not medical advice. It's based off of my experience. So if you feel like maybe you're having some of those symptoms, or maybe it's something you want to look into, then definitely do it. There's no. It can't hurt you. That's how I look at it. It only could make you feel better.
It can help. And if you have any questions, again, feel free to reach out to either of us. Guys, thank you for tuning into another episode of Real Talk in My Rooms, and we'll catch you in the next episode.
Bye.